So I thought I'd shoot another video on my Gunwerks rifle that maybe allows you to see a little bit better what I ordered and what I'm currently using. The first video that I shot on this, which was my first video, was really hard to see from what I understand because it was kind of too dark. So I'm going to try it in a different location and just go over real quick what I ordered and let you get a better look at the rifle. So I ordered this case. It has wheels on it to kind of haul through the airport if you're going to travel with your rifle. A lot of different places to lock the case down all the way around. This is a very solid case. So then inside the case, what I got was I got the rifle. I got this sling, which was wrapped up over there, and the bolt was actually out of it and in this location right here when I got the rifle. And then I also ordered with it, I got an Atlas bipod with it as well. I put one box of ammunition right here just so that you kind of see where it went, but I ordered a couple hundred rounds. I think my original order, I ordered 300 rounds of this, and this gun is in 300 Remington Ultra Magnum, and it is their Magnus rifle stock with the, and I'll go over all that here in a minute. Just for the record, these these bullets are going at 29.98 is what they chronographed it at, and it's got it's a 225 grain ELD M, so it's a custom round because the ELDMs aren't loaded in 225 grain 300 Remington Ultra Magnums from Hornady. The G7 ballistics on this, ballistic coefficient on this is .391. So just to take that into perspective, the 143 grain ELDX from Hornady for the 6.5 Creedmoor, the G7 is .315. So these are actually more ballistically coefficient, I suppose, than the 143 grain ELDX fired out of a 6.5 Creedmoor, and those are going 2,700 feet per second, I think. These are going almost 3,000 feet per second, and they're 225 grain. So a lot bigger bullets. So now I'm gonna take the gun out of the case and change the perspective around a little bit so that you can see the gun better, and go over what I ordered on this rifle from the buttstock all the way through the muzzle brake on the end. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and set the gun up so that we can look at it a little bit better. Okay, now I have the rifle set up on the table. I hope that the lighting is better than it was in my last video. If you want to watch the long version of my last video where I go over in depth a little bit more about this rifle, my experience with Gunwerks, go into my playlist, and it's actually the first video that I ever shot. But I'm going to go ahead and cover the rifle features and how I have it set up from the recoil pad to the muzzle brake. So again, this is the Gunwerks Magnus rifle, and it's in 300 Remington Ultra Magnum. So if we start back here at the recoil pad, this has a really, really soft and comfortable recoil pad. It's probably the most comfortable recoil pad I've ever had on any of the rifles that I have. It's also adjustable. You can open this wheel up and the recoil pad will adjust for cant as well as slide up and down on the right here so that you can adjust it to specifically fit your ergonomic needs, basically. Then moving up here, they have quick QD, quick detach sling mounts, one on each side, as well as there's the other end. They have a QD mount right here up underneath the built-in Picatinny rail that they've got attached to the front of the stock. So that's actually built into the stock. They have a small piece of Picatinny there so that you can hook your bipod to. Looking more at the actual stock, the Magnus stock has a negative comb here, so instead of it coming up as it goes towards the actual rifle and then hitting, which causes it to hit you in the face basically when it goes off, when a heavier caliber goes off, this actually has a negative comb, so this is really comfortable and you don't have to really worry about it smacking you in the face as when you fire the round. Right here, I really like this. Is where you kind of put, there's an indent right here where you can put your palm in, and a nice swell where on their pistol grip, so that you can have a nice flat face here to apply pressure in the rearward position to your gun when you're pulling back on it, and not have to apply and not end up wrapping your hand all the way around it and applying a whole lot of uneven torque to your rifle, causing you to kind of miss when you squeeze the trigger because you're applying torque one way or the other. There's also a thumb shelf right here that I never really knew about thumb shelves until I got this rifle, and then I started looking around and this works really well. You can put your thumb right here. It helps you control recoil, also helps you keep the pressure basically forwards and backwards and not side to side on the gun. Kind of like when you're shooting a pistol, right? You're gripping from the back and the front of the grip and not on the sides where that's not where you're applying most of your pressure at, right? So I also got the titanium, their titanium action. And this rifle's unloaded. You can see they have an orange follower in there, which is really handy, especially in the dark, or in the, you know, when the light's fading. It has a 2-position safety, so that is one thing that I'd like to see on a rifle like this. Is I'd like to see a 3-position safety. One of the positions being that it actually locks your bolt in place, so if you're carrying the rifle around and get snagged on something, there's less likelihood of your bolt going out of battery. I've actually had that happen before, not on this rifle, but on another rifle, and wouldn't you know it, saw a buck walking across the lane and went to shoot him, and because the bolt wasn't completely engaged, right, I got a light primer strike. It just clicked. So I would like to see that on a rifle like this. It has a nice fluted bolt, basic Remington 700 pattern lugs. Again, it's the titanium action, and there's a metal shroud on the back of the bolt. The bolt throw is pretty much perfect. It doesn't get in the way of the scope, and this is an incredibly smooth action. This is as smooth as any Tikka or Bergara that I have. This action is really smooth. And bolt comes out from the button on the other side, just like most every other Remington 700. So then, as far as going up the stock, I didn't get the box magazine. The reason that there's an option for that, the reason I didn't get the box magazine is that normally when I'm carrying a rifle, if it has a box magazine, I find that it's either poking me in the back or it gets caught in my backpack. It rattles. They're just never, I've never seen a box magazine that's absolutely perfect. So for that reason, I got the floor plate, the bottom metal, and I carry a couple of extra rounds in one of the pockets in my bino harness. So I do carry extra rounds, but they don't have to be in the rifle. This holds 3 rounds in the magazine, you know, one in the chamber, obviously. So that's 4 rounds. The trigger on this rifle is the Trigger Tech single stage frictionless trigger, and there is a screw here that you can adjust the poundage, the pull weight up and down. I have it down as far as it'll go. This is a really crisp single stage trigger. Here, I'll pull it and let you see. Again, it's empty, right? All right. That was it. I barely touched it, and it fired. There is no take up whatsoever. You're on the wall, so when you put your finger on this, as low as I have this, when I put my finger on this trigger, I'm pretty much going to fire a round. I don't touch this trigger until I'm ready till I'm sure I'm going to shoot at whatever I'm aiming at. The bottom metal release is actually right here. So push this and it drops the bottom metal out, so you can unload from the bottom. Moving up, like I said, there's a, I might have mentioned this already, but I'll mention it again. The stock up here is rounded on the sides, but flat on the bottom. So it's comfortable to hold, and I've shot a few deer with this offhand, so this is a real comfortable rifle to hold. And the bottom of it is flat, so that if you're propping up on something out of your stand or propping up on your backpack, the bottom is flat so that it's more stable. The barrel is a carbon fiber barrel, and the barrel length that I went with on this rifle, I went with a 24-inch barrel. And the reason that I did that is because I find that 24 inches in a barrel is the perfect cross between making sure you get enough velocity and portability. So any longer than that, and I start to think I'm carrying around a fishing rod. I have some 300 Win Mags that have a 26-inch barrel, and that's basically because the loads that I have for those rifles get the best velocity, the powders get the best velocity out of a longer burn. This rifle and the custom Gunwerks load that they worked up, I'm getting almost 3,000 feet per second, like I said, out of a 24-inch barrel with a 225 grain bullet. That's plenty. I don't, even if I could get a little more velocity out of a little longer barrel, I wouldn't do it, because that's enough. And I want to be able to carry this rifle around as much as possible. That's the other thing. This rifle is not incredibly heavy. It's not their super light rifle. They have a climber rifle that is their lightweight mountain rifle. This is not that rifle, but this is plenty light enough to carry around, and it's a balance between me being able to walk with it for miles and being able to shoot a 300 rum cartridge out of it without, you know, the recoil being any issue whatsoever. This gun recoils straight back. It doesn't recoil up. It's a dream to shoot. So if you have experience with other rifles in a heavy caliber that kind of recoil up and you're worried about getting scoped, this does not do that. This gun recoils straight back. It feels more like a shove or a push than somebody punching you in the shoulder, right? It's a pretty steady push. I did get their muzzle brake, which, like I said, the recoil is really manageable, so this thing must be working. And it has a recessed crown in there, which I like, because just in case I'm prone to bumping stuff, and if I wouldn't want to bump the crown of my rifle and chip it so that affects the accuracy. So this is actually recessed, so that was a really good idea too. They thought of a lot of the little bitty details like that some other manufacturers or other parts companies don't think of. They think of all the little stuff, which I really like. All right, the scope that I have mounted on this, I picked the Gunwerks 20 MOA Picatinny rail and the Gunwerks Picatinny rings. These rings are really positive rings. There's plenty of torque on here and they tighten from this side. So if you were to loosen this up, they tighten down from this side. But haven't had any slippage or anything like that. I got the Collis 3-18i, and it's in MOA. They do make this same scope in mils if that's your preferred calculation method or your whatever, right? But this is in MOA. It's a 50 millimeter front objective lens. This, out of the box, the magnification was kind of stiff, and it still is kind of stiff, but I think it's fine because it has this throw lever on it. I haven't had a problem actually turning the magnification when I need to, so I'd call that a win. It has a really good eye relief, and it has left side windage adjustments, so I don't adjust, I don't dial for windage, but if I did dial for windage, this scope actually has a left side adjustment so that you don't have to remove your firing hand off the trigger, basically, right? You can adjust it with your left hand. The reticle's illuminated, and the illumination is on this side. There's also a wheel on the other side of it, so where the to keep from accidentally adjusting your windage, there's kind of a little ingenious wheel that they have on the other side built into this scope, so that if anything does turn, it'll be that wheel on the outside of the adjustment knob and not the actual adjustment knob. The elevation, it has a red dot, it has a red thing here that if you were to dial around one full elevation, this sticks up. Really easy to, which I haven't had to do, really easy to adjust. It has a nice zero stop. The parallax is on the top. I also like that. A lot of rifles have the parallax inside over here on the left-hand side or the right-hand side. I kind of like the parallax being on the top. It's easier for me to work it that way. And the knob is much bigger. They did match the turret to my ballistics of my bullet that the load that they worked up. When I got that, it was a little bit, I don't want to say it was off, but it wasn't quite right. So I zeroed it, and now all of the lines seem to match. All the lines out to 400 yards at least seem to match up now. So I think it had something to do with the elevation or the pressure or humidity that they shot it at. I don't know, but I'm at zero. I'm flat, no sea level, no elevation at all, and somewhere between 80 and 45 degrees, which is a big swing, I know, but that's kind of where I'm at. I'm not in the mountains, they're in the mountains, so they might have had a little bit of a difficulty matching my zero elevation requirement. They did put on a bubble level, which is nice, and I have used that a couple of times. I didn't think I would. I thought that was not necessary, but I did end up using it. So overall, that is my rifle setup from Gunwerks. Again, this rifle is probably the smoothest, most comfortable rifle that I have, and it's also in a relatively large caliber. So I hope that this review was a little bit more to the point and a little bit better of an overview. If you have any questions about this Gunwerks rifle or any of the stuff that I had added to this, if you could leave me a comment, and I'll try to answer the best I can. And my take is that this rifle was expensive. I'm not gonna say it wasn't. The ammunition from Gunwerks is on the higher end of cost. I think it's like $10 a round or something, like $200 for a box of 20. But I do like this rifle a lot. It's super accurate, super easy to carry, handles recoil perfectly. The trigger is awesome. The scope mounting setup on this, I mean, the Collis is a sister company to either Swarovski or Smith & Bender. I don't remember which one, but both. It's a sister company to one of those two, which those are two of the highest end two of the highest end glass optics producers on the planet, right? So you can only imagine how clear this is. This is like their tactical side of whichever company it is, Swarovski or Smith & Bender. I forget which one it is, but this is their tactical rifle side. So as far as the glass goes, this is some of the best glass that you can get, in my opinion. And I can completely tell the difference between Vortex glass, Leupold glass that I looked through, Zeiss glass that I've looked through. This is way better for my eyes. There's a marked difference, and there's a marked difference in the low light as well. So 30 minutes before dark to right about dusk, this is bright enough to easily shoot out to a couple hundred yards. I've shot deer at I shot a deer last year at 380 something yards with this rifle, and by the time I walked down to where the deer hit the dirt, it was dark. So that's how, in the time it took me to make that trip, the lights had gone out. That's how close it was to being nighttime. So, like I said, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. And I'd appreciate it if you would like and subscribe to my channel. It'll mean a lot. So I hope everybody has a good rest of your day. Thank you. Bye.